Hoochie. I'm gonna buy Jeff.
Welcome, brothers and sisters. I'm Senator Gina Walsh, President of the Missouri State Building and Construction Trade Council. I am a proud member of Asbestos Workers Heat and Frost Insulators Local Number 1, 33 years retired. I'm proud to stand here today with all of you in solidarity. Today, we are united. We who build and maintain our roads stand with those who drive buses and operate our railways. We who provide home health care services and teach Missouri's children. Here, side by side with those of us who build homes and schools. We who haul the freight to your neighborhood grocery and the cashier who checks out your purchases. We plow the streets through winter storms and endure 100-degree heat on rooftops. We build this state and we make it work every day.
Yeah!
Today the sun shines on labor. It's our day.
Yeah!
As state senator, I know that I'm representing all those that fight on behalf of working families in Missouri. We must never stand alone in our fight for justice and fairness for the middle class. We have to stick together more now than ever.
Amen.
In my office hangs a copy of the Labor Tribune, dated November 1978.
Yeah!
That headline reads, "We won." We won back in '78 when we defeated so-called right to work. The newspaper's, it's a little torn, it's a little tattered after 35 years, but the message is still crystal clear. I keep it as a reminder, not as a reminder of what we did then, but as a reminder of what we can do if we stand together for a common good and cause, the working men and women of this state. You know, politicians can't stop talking about these issues, so-called right to work and paycheck deception. Far too many labor lawmakers in this building, their number one priority is attacking your right to be in a union, to collectively bargain, and to have a voice on the job in your community. That's just wrong.
Shame on.
It's just wrong.
Shame on.
Shame on you. Their dangerous agenda is all about lowering wages and silencing your voice. There are several bills promoting these so-called laws, and others aimed at gutting our state's prevailing wage laws. It will take all of us to protect what our predecessors fought for.
Yeah.
And if we lose, the whole middle class, everyone who works for a living, will pay the price.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We have a responsibility to our fellow Missourians to defend middle-class families and our brothers and sisters in the movement from the barrage of legislative attacks.
That's right.
As hard-working Missourians, it is our job to be engaged, to stay informed on the issues, and make sure our elected officials know what is at stake.
You tell
Our
us.
courage and our common sense is needed here more than ever to keep Missouri moving forward. You know, brothers and sisters, we are not alone. As a state senator, Jay Nixon supported the laws which protected the workers. As Attorney General, he enforced those laws. And as governor, he has stopped the continued attempts to repeal those laws. Appreciation for our governor, Jay Nixon.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Walsh. I also want to thank newest member of my cabinet, recently confirmed, Ryan McKenna as your Department of Labor. Ryan, we thank you. I guarantee you he knows what it's like to work, and in this administration he will never forget. what that's like. We make him work 2 shifts a day now. You know, it is always an honor to be in the company of the most highly skilled, hardest working, and most productive workers in the world. We're pleased to have with us today a great American labor leader, the president of the Building and Construction Trades, the AFL-CIO, Sean McGarvey. We thank him for making this trip.
Yeah.
2 years ago, at the Liberty Memorial in Kansas City, the World War I memorial over there, Sean and I joined with the Canadian ambassador, Gary Doer, to send a clear and united message about the need to create high-paying jobs and working families and strengthen North American energy independence. Now, that's a message I carried to Washington, D.C. and to officials during our recent trade mission to Canada. Quite frankly, instead of importing oil from unstable parts of the world, our working men and women were ready to build a more secure and prosperous future right here in North America to get energy, build it, and build it union. Now,
Keep it here.
why do I say that? It's because we've done that. Now, yesterday I had this great opportunity. I visited Chariton County up north of here, where it's a lot cooler than it is today, to meet with the workers up there who are building this pipeline. Okay, now this is a $2.7 billion project to go from Canada down to the Gulf. It will carry 600,000 barrels of North American crude through 11 counties across Missouri, creating 1,800 jobs and boosting our energy independence along the way. The reason I was there yesterday, that day we were in Kansas City 2 years ago, we had not turned a single shovel of dirt. And by July 1 of this summer, that project is going to be up and operating and showing $1 billion construction project, and we'll be able to take North American oil pressures at up to 1,500 pounds per square inch. When they need to build the best, they come to Missouri. When they need to build the best, they hire union. Another thing, when I talked to their management group yesterday, one of the things they said to me, they said, you know, working like this in the winter, building pipelines 600 miles across, under rivers, levees, fields, and forests, it's really tough work. But with skills and training second to none, I'm here to tell you that our brothers and sisters that worked on that project not only matched the national benchmark on safety, they exceeded it. 1/3 is all of the injuries compared to what the national average is. Our folks built it fast, they built it safe, they built it better. We stood on the side of North American energy and American jobs here in Missouri, and quite frankly, there is no reason why the federal government can't do the same and finally approve the Keystone XL pipeline.
That's right.
The evidence is in, the safeguards are in place. It's time to start creating those jobs in America right now. Now, here in Missouri, building things is what we do, okay? It's what we've always done. From Ballpark Village to Bush Stadium to the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge, from pipelines to pickup trucks, the hardworking men and women of Missouri will outwork and outproduce anyone.
That's
okay?
right. You betcha.
And you know what? Businesses have taken notice. Companies want their facilities constructed on time and built to last. And they know that building tradesmen and women of Missouri can deliver. Today,
That's right.
this very day,
That's right.
LMV Automotive, once again a Canadian company, one of the world's largest suppliers of auto parts. I met with their CEO when I was in Canada a couple of weeks ago. They're announcing this morning that they're going to build another 250,000 square foot facility in Liberty, Missouri. Last week it was GAF Roofing, North America's largest roofing manufacturer, which is building a $150 million, 300,000 square foot facility in Moberly.
All right.
And I just got to brag for a second, because we all worked on this for a number of years. Earlier this year, over a span of just 4 days, we marked not one, not two, not three, but 4 major milestones that continue to lead to rebirth of the American auto industry. In that week, and I was in Detroit at the auto show, on Sunday, we unveiled the all-new GMC Canyon. That's being built at the General Motors brand new facility in Wentzville, a $500 million investment. $500 million investment there, okay? On Monday, Ford unveiled the all-new Missouri-made F-150, going to be made at Clay Como. Okay? Later that day, that very same day, we welcomed a new automotive supplier, Janesville Acoustics, which is building a $13.4 million manufacturing plant in Warrensburg. Okay? And on Thursday of that week, 4 days, for announcement, on Thursday, Ford celebrated the hiring of the 1,000th worker to build the all-new transit van at that billion-dollar facility that they're building, quite frankly, that they built with union labor. Most of you know I was there when we did the 1 millionth hour, okay? 1 million hours of work there. But you know that transit vehicle, that's being insourced from Europe to make it right here in Missouri. So you have proven what you can do. People know it. In countries around the world, in companies around our nation. But unfortunately, the values that we worked so long and hard for are under attack. Right now, behind these walls up here, many legislators are trying to pull the rug out from under hard-working folks in our state.
Yeah, that's right.
Some lawmakers and special interests who back them still seem to think that the way to lift up our economy is to tear down working families. Instead of putting forward policies that would strengthen the middle class, they've launched an all-out attack on the folks that created it. Now, we've beat back these attacks before. They passed a bill to take away your privacy and make it harder for people who got hurt to get hired. I vetoed it.
All right.
They passed a bill to make it harder to get unemployment benefits when folks are out of work. I vetoed it. They passed a bill to make it easier for corporations to discriminate against and fire their workers. I vetoed that twice. They proposed rolling back the minimum wage law passed overwhelmingly by Missouri voters. We said not on our watch, okay? They even put forward legislation to weaken child labor laws.
And embarrassed us throughout the nation and the world.
That's right.
As we speak, a bill is pending up there that would get rid of the prevailing wage and reduce the quality of public works projects following disasters. Here's their plan they're working on now. One of the things is to say that if there's a tornado or a natural disaster, that if we have to rebuild after that, that we should get rid of the prevailing wage? Folks, we need to, believe me, I've had my share of disasters, okay? I've rebuilt levees, I've rebuilt hospitals, we've been involved in rebuilding buildings and homes all over this state since I've been your governor. And when they are rebuilt after a natural disaster, they need to be built the best they can with the best workers in this state. We will not allow that to happen. And we defeated these attacks on working families in the past. You know what? We're going to stop them again.
Stop the war.
One of their latest attacks is an attempt to make Missouri a so-called right-to-work state. Okay. Never before in my career have I enjoyed being booed. This latest attempt to make Missouri a right-to-work state is unnecessary and misguided. Right to work is wrong, and it would move our state backwards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stop the war.
Everybody here knows what would happen if that bill made it to my desk, okay? Yeah. But if they try to go around me and put this wrong-headed legislation for a vote of the people, I will stand right beside you, and we will fight and win just like we did. Right to work was a rip-off then, and it's a rip-off now.
Amen.
Organized labor benefits and protects all the workers in a workplace. And that cost should not fall on just a few. I may have turned my laborer's card in many years ago, but I know that an organized workforce is a safe workforce. An organized workforce is a productive workforce.
That's right.
An organized workforce is the workforce that is building America's economy.
Yep.
From child labor laws to the 40-hour work week, from health insurance to workers' compensation, the basic rights we take for granted are hard-fought victories.
That's right.
Our brothers and sisters, grandfathers and grandmothers fought and won. You build our schools, you build our hospitals, you build our roads, and you keep this economy and make our world a better place. That's why we need your voices to be heard here in the Capitol today and every day in your communities. We will not let our brothers and sisters become casualties of an ill-conceived race to the bottom. We will not step aside and watch the rights of the many be snuffed out by the hands of the few. We will stand as tall and as strong as the most towering structure anyone here has ever built or worked on, and we will speak with one voice.
Yes!
Union labor built the middle class in this country. The middle class built America. Together, we're going to build a brighter future for America. Folks, I got plenty of fight left.
Yeah!
And plenty of ink in my pen for whichever side of the bill needs to stand. There's two choices on the bottom of every bill, okay? That becomes a binary choice. I just ask you, with this august gathering today, with these great folks with us today, we have a responsibility to keep fighting for the people of Missouri. God bless you and the work we do.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. My name is State Representative Bob Burns from the 93rd District, and I'd like to say I'm here to honor and to introduce Missouri State Treasurer Clint Zweifel. Treasurer Zweifel was a member of the Teamsters and a former state representative who was a strong voice in the House for Missouri workers. As state treasurer, he successfully pushed the State Housing Commission to abide by prevailing wage law on affordable housing projects. He was recently appointed by Governor Nixon to lead the Missouri Military Partnership, and in working with the federal, state, local leaders to ensure the nation's security investments made throughout our state and the jobs they result in are protected and enhanced. Ladies and gentlemen, a big Teamster, a big union welcome for Treasurer Clint Zweifel.
Good afternoon. It is great to look out and to see each of you. I am so proud of you today. I'm so proud of you being here. And frankly, I'm so proud of the relationship that we have. I feel connected to each of you in a way that's bigger than simply a bill or legislation or an issue. You really are part of who I am as a person. Labor is in my blood. My father and my grandfather, union carpenters. So, we all know a little bit about what being union means.
That's right.
And we often talk about what's wrong with what the other side's doing, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of wonderful things about being union that's important that everybody in Missouri hears.
That's right.
Having a union is bigger than membership dues or a union card or a dues payment or a contract. Having a union is about opening up a door of opportunity for all of us. Having a union gives you a voice at work, and it gives you a voice in our larger economy. Having a union ensures that those that build communities can afford to live in the communities that they use their skills to build every single day. Having a union ensures that mom or dad can coach or manage a soccer club or a scout troop for their son or daughter, instead of being forced to take a second job just to make ends meet.
That's right.
Having a union means that the buildings and the structures and the public spaces that we all love and are dear to us, that they're safe and that they're world class. Having a union means that families who work hard, who work with their hands every day, have a chance to give a better life and more opportunities to their kids. Having a union means that you're optimistic about your future because you have a voice.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And having that union is a connection point for all of us in America, to our friends and neighbors, and the reminder that we're all in this together and that we're best when we rise together.
That's right.
You're here today to make your voice heard on an issue that should be the core of everything that happens inside that building. A strong middle class with good jobs. It's the basis of what makes America productive, exciting, and special. That opportunity to move up.
Absolutely.
That middle class life provides the aspirations and dreams of millions of Americans. And guess what? Having a union helps provide it.
That's right.
You know, I travel around this state and get a chance to meet some pretty amazing people. And when their back is against the wall, whether it's a tough economy or a weather-related disaster, I'm constantly amazed about how they find ways to work together, to work with others, to do the best they can for their family in a difficult period. Well, guess what? Our legislature needs to listen to that lesson.
Yes. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
Our problems are real. But you know what? We do a heck of a lot better focusing on things like balancing our budget and funding education than we do when we're dishing out ideology that attacks workers and beats up families.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, these folks have a pessimistic view of the world. They want to weaken child labor laws, roll back the minimum wage. They want to make it difficult for those who are hurt on the job. They want to end the prevailing wage, and they want to create right to work for less. Their economic development plan is based on lowering the bar for workers. But, you know, they're wrong because they miss an important point, and that's this. It isn't just about union versus non-union. It's about the fact that the middle class is a foundation for a strong economy.
That's right.
That if we're going to make America work, we have to support a strong, vibrant middle class.
Yeah.
And that means making sure that we support workers who gave nearly everything to a job, including their health, that they're supported. That means making sure that workers have the freedom to better their workplace. That means coming up with real ideas that help grow our economy and ensure that everyone benefits from productivity, not just those at the top. That means bringing everyone along who is willing to work.
That's right.
I gotta tell you, I understand firsthand that economic fairness and opportunity is a key for our Missouri, no matter what the decade, no matter what your job. I grew up in a community in North St. Louis County that was based on that, where those kids had big dreams and opportunities because their parents had a union card and were part of the middle class. You know, it's pretty basic, but something special happens when you support those families. You get better schools, stronger communities, you get a view that tomorrow is better than today, and a bigger belief that we're all in this together.
Yes, sir. That's right. Ain't no accident.
Now, my mom and dad taught me a lot about hard work and responsibility, but I also learned one other important lesson that I'll leave you with. When I was growing up, before I was old enough to understand what it was, I saw a sticker on my dad's lunchbox that said, "Right to work is a ripoff." Now, I didn't understand exactly what that meant at that time, but he told me that it meant something about working together, sticking together. Folks, that's a pretty good lesson.
Yes.
The idea that individuals can be stronger when they stand together, I take that value with me to work every single day, no matter what I do.
Yes.
We're responsible in this building and each of you today for imparting that into the next generation. Thank you for standing up for opportunity.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters.
Good afternoon.
I am Joe Runyon, State Representative from the 37th District. It is my honor to introduce our Secretary of State, Jason Kander. As Secretary, as a State Representative, and now as a State Secretary, Kander has pushed for ethics in government and early voting while protecting the citizens' right to vote. a valued friend of all labor, State Representative Jason Kander.
Jason.
Thank you, Joe. Y'all are just beautiful. I'm just looking at you. This is one of my favorite days of the year. I wish that we didn't have a legislature that forced you to come up here, but I sure love seeing you. You know, you're up here because you know what's going on, you know what we're up against up here, you've been reading the papers, you see what's going on, but I gotta tell you, when I look out at this crowd, I feel something that I haven't felt in Jefferson City in a little while, and that's optimism. You make me feel good. And I appreciate that so much. I feel like reinforcements are here. I look at you and I feel like the cavalry has arrived. And I'll tell you what, we need the cavalry pretty bad because the folks who work under this dome, they got things pretty backward. They're doing things pretty wrong. And you all being here today, what it says is, it says we're going to make sure that they can hear your voices, that they can feel the solidarity that you bring here. That's what it says, and it says to them that the strength of this solidarity is such that if they are going to vote to take away your rights, they're going to have to do it while they look you in the eye.
Throw the bums out.
Now, some of you may know, before I was Secretary of State, I was somebody who, continued to work for working Missourians. I was a member of local, UTU Local 933. I represented rail workers when they were hurt. I represented the Fraternal Order of Police when they were recognized as a union in Kansas City. So whether as an attorney, as a state representative, or now as your Secretary of State, I am proud to tell you that I have always stood up for working Missourians. Because I believe in workers' rights, and now those rights are under attack. And so we have to ask, who exactly is it that is attacking those rights? Because I can tell you who it's not. It's not your neighbors. It's not regular Missourians. Missourians don't want to pick a fight with this group of people. They don't want to pick a fight with workers. They don't have any interest in that stuff. The majority party here, the leadership of it in particular, under this dome here in this building, they may want to pick that fight. That may be what they're interested in. But I can tell you, having been to every corner of this state, that that is not something that Missourians want. Missourians are not clamoring for lower wages and fewer rights. That is not something that they want at all. Missourians want something real simple out of this legislature. They want them to do their job. They want them to protect workers' rights and to make sure wages can go up, not down. So really, the only folks in this state who are interested in attacking your rights, attacking our rights, they work under this dome. They're elected officials, and that's wrong. It is wrong to go after your rights as a way to go after your voice.
Exactly.
It's wrong. So, now that the cavalry is here, I want to make sure that they can hear you. I want to make sure I can hear you and that they can hear you in this building. Pretty good. We'll do that. So we'll raise our voices and we'll let them know exactly where we stand. And then when today is over, we'll go home, we'll grab 10 of our brothers and sisters, 10 of our friends, and we'll have them email, we'll have them call, we'll have them show up here to let these folks know that they have to stop attacking workers' rights. In short, we'll do what we do best. We'll get to work. Thanks very much.
Good afternoon, hard-working Missourians. I am Senator Jamila Nasheed, representing the 5th Senatorial District from the city of St. Louis. is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you a man who needs no introduction. As a prosecutor for Cass County, he prosecuted more contractors for violating prevailing wage laws than any prosecutor in Missouri's history. As a senator, he boldly defended POAs and prevailing wage. And as our Attorney General, he continues to enforce prevailing wage and workers' compensation laws that protect and promote Missouri workers. In a time when Missouri workers are under attack, the need for leadership is now. It's now.
That's right.
I can tell you, we have that leader. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the leader that I am talking about, the next governor of the state of Missouri, Chris Castor.
Welcome, men and women of organized labor in the state of Missouri. Welcome to your state capital.
Thank you.
You came here today because some powerful politicians who work inside this building, they want to cut your pay.
Yes.
They think that Missouri would be a better place. You all made less money. They think Missouri would be a better place if you lost the power to bargain collectively. If your pension plans got scrapped. And if they could divide you from one another. My friends, that's what Right to Work is all about.
Yes, sir.
They think this whole Missouri economy would run better if they could cut the pie just a little bit more in their favor.
Yes.
If they could rewrite the laws in this building so that they got the same, but you got less. Let me show you what Right to Work means in real life. There's a little town northwest of here called Fortescue, Missouri. It sits up in Holt County, north of Kansas City, on the banks of the Missouri River. Drive west on Highway 159 out of Fortescue, and you will see the old Rouleau Bridge that crosses the Missouri River into a town called Rouleau, Nebraska. The old Rouleau Bridge was built by Franklin Roosevelt during the Great Depression. But after 70 years, the old bridge gave out. And in 2010, folks up there set about to build a new Rouleau Bridge about 600 feet to the south. The new bridge would be built out across the water from both states, extending east from Nebraska and west from Missouri, until the two spans met in the center of the Missouri River. But then the contractor on the job found out he had a little problem. Nebraska, as you know, is a right-to-work state. And Missouri, for now, is not. When the contractor pulled up the wage sheets for the two states, he realized that laborers on the Missouri side made $31.56 an hour. While the laborers on the Nebraska side made $8.30. Two sets of workers meeting at the center of that river. Two sets of workers living two very different lives. Two different health care plans. Two different educations for their children. Two different hopes for their retirement. And let's be honest with each other. Two different marriages. Because a family scrapping by on $8 an hour faces a whole different set of challenges in this world than a family making 32 bucks an hour.
Yes, exactly right.
The contractor on the Rouleau Bridge project was shamed into paying everyone on that job Missouri's wage. Nebraska's wage, 8 bucks an hour. That's what right to work looks like in real life.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That may be Tim Jones's vision for a better Missouri. That may be Tom Schweik's vision for a better Missouri. But it's not my vision for a better Missouri. Our job is to deliver to the future a Missouri that is greater than the one that was delivered to us.
Absolutely.
And thank God that there are men and women in this Capitol,
Yes.
Republicans and Democrats,
That's right.
who believe that future will be better when we build up Missouri's middle class and stop threatening to grind it down. Thank you, my friends, for traveling here today and for standing up for the men and women who are in there standing up for you. Thank you, my friends.
Brothers and sisters, this is all about our issues, and this is all about compromise in this building behind me. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you a very, very dear friend of mine, State Representative Ann Zier, representing District 65. She is in her third term in the House. For the last 3 years, she has served as the chair of the Economic Development Committee. Prior to her government experience, Ann was a member of the Utility Workers 110 from 1977 to 1987. But Ann and I are an example of working across the aisle to make Missouri better for all Missourians. And I am grateful for her coming here today, because it's more difficult for her to stand up than it is for me.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate what she does for me and what she does for this movement. Representative there.
How are you today? It's really, really good to be here and to be invited to speak in front of you. I'll tell you what, Gina mentioned that I was a utility worker for 10 years. My husband carried HOD for 17 years for the utility workers, labor local out of 660 in St. Charles. And you know what? We raised a family on union wages. We never paid for a lot of money. Nobody ever gave us anything, but we knew, because we belonged to a union, that we had protection, that we were guaranteed a wage, that somebody was watching our back, and that we had each other. Do we need right to work? No! As chair of the Economic Development Committee and as a Republican and pro-business, you might think that I would be anti-labor. But you know what? Working with labor is good business. And you get what you pay for. And those companies that realize that and work well with labor are surviving and prospering companies.
That's right.
And please, take heart, because there's more and more of us on the Republican side that are realizing that it's important to work with labor, and labor is not the enemy. You absolutely get what you paid for in Missouri. Unions train people. You train each other. You train your own, and you pay for that. No state government program pays for that.
That's right.
You're taking care of your own.
That's right.
And I need to say this too. Don't forget, the people who stood by you all these years are the Democrats. Don't forget them, that we're not the rock stars. The people that were with you all along are the rock stars.
Thank you.
What we're doing very quietly and very professionally is working with members on our side to help them understand really what right to work means. Really what prevailing wage means. Really what paycheck means. We are helping educate our own. And that's what we have to do. We're not going to do it in fighting. We're going to do it by education. So I appreciate your support. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Thank you for coming up, and God bless you all.
I'd like to introduce to you a member of the IBEW Local Number 1 and the Minority House Leader. Representative Jay Kummel is a proud member of this movement, and he has supported our issues not just here, but out on the streets before he came here and out on the job sites. He's one of us, and I ask that you make him feel very welcome here today.
Thank you, Senator Walsh, for those very kind words. I am truly honored to be here today. Wow. This is what the union movement looks like in the state of Missouri. Thank you for being here. Brothers and sisters, I want you to join me in thanking the members of the House and the Senate from both sides of the aisle. These people are here today. They're not in there on the floor. We have members that are holding down the fort for us, but please thank all of these members for coming out here today and what they do for us. I want to thank you again for coming up here to your state capitol. It really means a lot to all of us, I guarantee it. I know what it's like to come up here and to take off of work, if you're lucky enough to be working right now. A few years ago, I stood up here on this stage, or I sat in the audience where you were, and I watched everybody up here on this stage. And when I went home knowing that there was more to do. There were more doors to knock. There were more phone calls to make, there were more letters to write, and I wasn't going to stop. And I was lucky enough to run for office after that and be here, and I can't thank everybody enough for all that you've done to put me in this position. You know, when we run for office not just for ourselves, but for the people we work with, for our neighbors, for my family, for your family, for the people that I went through the apprenticeship with, the people on the job site, and the ones that couldn't make the trip today. And that's what we're here fighting for. We're here to make sure that you can go home and have a good wage and a good standard of living and take care of your families.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I want to make something clear, and I know you know it. But we are under attack like never before.
We're aware.
Our way of life is being threatened so that millionaires can make a few more dollars. So they can squeeze more profits from our wallets. So they can strip us of our rights to provide for a better way of life for our families. At a time of economic growth and record profits, When the stock markets are at an all-time high and wages and benefits are at an all-time low, we only hear three words from them: more, more, more.
Yes.
But you know, I've got news for them. You can't draw blood from a stone. You can't kick us in the face and think that we're going to take it. They need to know, they need to hear that we are sick of this attack on our way of life, and we're not going to put up with it anymore. Now, it's no secret that labor finds itself not just at a crossroads, but in the crosshairs. Every day across this state and across this country, forces align to strip us of our ability to improve the lives of not only our members, but all workers. When union voices are silenced in right-to-work states, it's not just union members that pay the price.
That's right.
Now, back in December, business and labor came together in an amazing way. We came together in record time to help entice Boeing to bring thousands of good-paying jobs to Missouri.
That's right. That's right.
It showed that the business community that when it matters, we can come together and make a difference together.
Yeah, that's right.
We proved it when the Ford plant in Clay Como announced thousands of new jobs, when Express Scripts announced another expansion in St. Louis County, and when Governor Nixon announced that the new Colorado pickup would be built right here in the state of Missouri. Now fast forward to today. Dozens and dozens of anti-worker bills are filed and heard every week. The Speaker of the House has made right to work his #1 priority.
Yeah, Joe's got it.
But we're not going to let him and the Koch brothers do that to us. No! Are we? No! We in organized labor are the first that corporations call when they need help getting legislation passed.
Yeah, that's right.
We're always there when we're needed to help create jobs.
That's right.
This year we're under attack like never before. And my hope is that those business leaders remember us. When they needed us, we were there.
Right. Yes.
The Boeings, the Fords, the Express Scripts, the General Motors, we were there for you, and we can create good-paying jobs together. That's and I hope they're there for us.
That's yes, sir. Yes.
Make no mistake about it. We haven't been this close to losing our protections since 1978.
That's right.
If we lose those protections, it's going to be more difficult for us to send our children to college.
That's right.
To try and have a better life for ourselves and our families. We owe it to those members that came before us, the ones that fought, yes, bled, and died for the rights that we have now today in this state.
Yes.
We're asking for everyone's help. We can't let that happen.
No.
Don't let them do it. You have to fight. You have to take the fight home. You have to take the fight to the job site. But most importantly, you have to take the fight to the ballot box.
That's right.
Let them know that in August and November, we will remember those that stood with us and those that stood against us. In closing, just let me say, you know, a lot of people say it must be difficult to be the leader of the Democrats in Missouri when we're outnumbered and outgunned. But you know what? I'm very proud to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And you know why? Because I know that in a very short time, I'm going to be able to look back and say, I was there when we beat right to work one more time. Thank you.
Before we get to our keynote speaker, I would like to acknowledge two people today that helped me put this together. One from the western side of the state and one from the eastern side of the state. I would like to introduce to you Business Manager Elise Martini of the Kansas City Building Trades. Secretary Treasurer of the St. Louis Building Trades, my good friend Jeff Abusi. Now more than ever, North America's building trades unions are providing solutions to meet the challenge of a changing, energy-conscious world. With pride, performance, and professionalism, our highly skilled workforce delivers unmatched value for contractors and owners alike. Sean McGarvey is president of the North American Building Trades Council. He started his career with the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades in 1981 in Philadelphia. Where are you? I know you're out there. Subsequently, he worked his way up through various leader positions with the painters, and is here today to speak to you as our president of the United States Building Trades. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I give to you President Sean McGarvey.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I must say that anytime you have the opportunity to spend some time and look at a crowd like this with the beautiful people that make up the labor movement in the state of Missouri, it's a day well spent. And of course you know by now that I'm out of town, but the first clue would have been I think I'm the only one up here with an overcoat on. Because, even though it's springtime, it's still a little cold here. Now, I had prepared remarks, but I'm going to have to scrap them because you've had such a fantastic panel of speakers that most of the topics I want to touch on about the issues that you're facing, in particular right to work here, have been taken care of. But first and foremost, I want to tell you that, you know, this isn't a fight that the labor movement in Missouri fights on its own. My general presidents who make up the board of presidents of the building trades, Frank Christensen, from the Elevator Constructors General President, is in the crowd here somewhere. Frank, thanks for being here. And all of our presidents are with you, supporting you with manpower, expertise, whatever you need. Because this is all of our fight. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Sorry. This is all of our fight. Now, what I see today, and what you'll have done this morning and what you'll do later on this afternoon, is actually democracy in action. There are proposals that we vehemently oppose that are working their way through committee or will come to the floor in the building behind me today and over the next couple of weeks. That's our democracy. That is people's prerogative to promote pieces of legislation that they think are good ideas. Our prerogative as a citizenry of the state of Missouri is to oppose them respectfully but vehemently. So what is right to work? Nobody's quite been able to explain it to me. We have it in a lot of states. It doesn't seem to achieve any of the objectives that the supporters of right to work have laid out. It hasn't raised the standards of living. It hasn't attracted more business. It hasn't educated more people. It hasn't made better retirements in any of the right-to-work states across this country. And if it hasn't achieved those goals in the right-to-work states that have been in existence for decades, how is it going to achieve those goals in the state of Missouri? Now, it's not good for the workers. It's not good for the middle class. And brothers and sisters, and this is very important to us, it's not good for the people who want to get to the middle class. Now, I'm pretty proud to stand on this stage or these steps of this Capitol with some fantastic Democratic elected officials.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate their words. But I got to tell you, I feel really good that I got to stand on the steps of this Capitol with a Republican leader who spoke from their heart and supports working people in this state. And let's not forget that when it comes time to make up our minds about who we support for elected office in this state and in this country, that we don't forget those who stood with us regardless of party. Now, ordinarily I'd say I'm from Washington, D.C. and I'm here to help, but that's a bad joke. So I'll say I'm from Southern Maryland now. And in Washington we have ongoing debates across state houses, city councils across this country about the shrinking middle class, and I watch politicians wring their hands. The shrinking middle class, the shrinking middle class, what are we going to do?
We're going to fight.
And then I hear politicians talk about income inequality, okay, and the have-nots getting less and the haves getting more. And those are all true. And lots of people have policy prescriptions about how to fix that. And I think, particularly in the building trades, for communities of color, women and veterans, we have a program in place where we can help drop the ladders of opportunities over the side and lift people up into the middle class through first-class pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship training, and teach people skill sets that last a lifetime and keep families in the middle class for generations. We have prescriptions. But what's going on in this Capitol behind me are the exact opposite of what's required to stop the shrinking of the middle class and to stop income inequality, to take away the rights of people to participate in the democracy of this state through various proposals is not the way to achieve the economic goals that they purport that they support. When I listen to your speakers, in particular your governor, talk about the economic opportunity and development that's been brought to this state with major investments from major companies from around this country and around this world. They didn't wait. They didn't say they wouldn't come here because it's not a right-to-work state. They came here, they want to take advantage of a highly educated, highly motivated, productive, and safe workforce. That's why they came here. And I can tell you that almost every day I talk to a Fortune 500 or Fortune 200 CEO. I'll meet with one tomorrow. And the first CEO that has a discussion with me, and I'm talking about the biggest companies in the world, the first one that has a discussion with me about why he won't go somewhere or why they won't do something because it's not a right-to-work state will be the first time I ever hear it. I never hear it from the business community. But there are certainly some ideologues and some wealthy special interests who are interested in destroying what's left of the middle class of this country. We have these fights in states across this country. There are legislative proposals in every house. In my home state, where I was born, Pennsylvania's gearing for their fight. Right to work, paycheck protection, prevailing wage has been introduced, and they're battling. We've had fights in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and Missouri. A few weeks ago, we beat back right to work and prevailing wage reform in the Kentucky State House. Your job from today forward is to educate in a respectful manner those who disagree with our position. Because like the chairwoman said, they need education. They don't understand. They've been given talking points and they've been told a point of view. It's your job as a citizenry. It's your job as their constituents to explain to them how wrong-headed some of these proposals are and the net negative effect it will have on the state, the economy of the state, and most importantly, the people and the people's children of this state. Do it in a respectful manner. Make your point firmly, and then let them vote their conscience. And then, in November, as you've been told already, you vote your conscience. And you stand with those that stood with you. And the people of the labor movement who work in our churches and our soup kitchens, who raise hundreds of millions for charity, who coach Little League and football and basketball. They help Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. They look after the feeble and the ill when they volunteer at nursing homes. And we sure as hell look after our veterans when they come back.
That's right.
Who is it that they're talking about that they oppose? Because that's who you are. That's what you do, and you do it every day.
Yes, sir.
You make your families proud. You make your forefathers proud. Make the people that will never know the sacrifices that you make. Taking days off from work, doing lit drops, talking on the telephone to educators, people that you will help maintain their standard of living, who will never pay dues, but will appreciate the effort that you put in. Brothers and sisters, with the people behind me on the stage and the leadership out there, there is no doubt that the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, starts in Missouri. And when we beat it back here, we start on offense. Yes. God bless you, and God bless you.
Thank you, President McGarvey, and thank you all for coming. Thanks to all the elected officials. If you could do two things today, please. We don't have a lot of money to give to campaigns as individuals, but we can get to know every one of these people standing behind me, because they are the people that represent you, and they fight that fight in this building every day that they're up here.
Thank you!
They know that you appreciate them, but appreciate them at the ballot box, like the President said. Times are tough, so hang in there and we'll get there. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Time.